Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Once again, we are very sorry for having a trouble for half an hour. Thanks for bearing with us. Are you people able to hear me? And are you people able to view the slides? If yes, we can proceed ahead. Okay, thanks Tamanna and Monica for giving me the information. I'll be starting the entire PPT again. You can ask the questions in between and I'll answer them at the end after the completion of the presentation. Okay, thanks Nasi, thanks. We'll be starting. Okay, thank you. So today our webinar is basically related to medical writing. All the people who are into the field of clinical research and who are aspiring to be into the field of clinical research or any medical related field can have a useful information from this PPT regarding a specific field in the field of pharma and clinical research, that is medical writing. I'll start with the definition of medical writing. What is actually medical writing? Normally, day and again, we hear the term medical writing from number of the people at different profiles. They call themselves medical writers. But if you go to the specific meaning of medical writing, then medical writing is the activity of writing scientific documentation by someone who is a specialized writer called as medical writer and generally not the one of the scientist or doctor whose research it was. Usually, many scientists and doctors in the pharma companies, in the clinical research field, and even in other researches are involved in doing lot of clinical research, lot of research. But the research needs to be written down in a manner that it is understandable and knowledgeable to each and every person who is reading the research. So all the research that is being carried out is usually written down in form of papers, in form of articles, in different journals, on internet, in various magazines, pharma research magazines, and even the pharma companies publish a lot of material on internet regarding all the research which is being carried out at their facilities. Normally, all these things are written by medical writers. But when we talk regarding the research publications, when we talk regarding research documentation, we would more focus towards regulated research. I'll tell you what is regulated. We'll go to the next slide. Medical writing can be divided into two major types, that is scientific writing and marketing writing. Scientific writing, when I would tell you, would be any written documentation of a research which is more or less published for the people who are actually from the field. But when it comes to marketing writing, it's not from the people who are exactly from the field. They may be any general public also who may read any magazine, who may read any newspaper. But when it is scientific writing, it is read and written both by the scientific people only. Normally, who are scientific writers? They are normally the people who have their background in medicine field, who have their background in pharmacy, who have their background in any life sciences division or any science division also. We would be more concentrating towards scientific writing because I am very sure that all of you are from scientific background and looking forward towards your careers into scientific backgrounds only. So we'll start up with something like. We'll start up with scientific writing. Scientific writing can be basically classified into two kinds of writing, that is regulatory medical writing or general medical writing. When it comes to regulatory medical writing, it's normally any research which is being penned down, which is being written so as to cater the needs of regulatories. Nowadays, actually, when we talk about pharma research or when we talk about clinical research, regulatories have intervened into each and every aspect of the research because these researches are basically going to affect in long run to the human life, to the health of the human beings. So regulators are becoming very strict, very stringent towards each and every aspect of the research, be it conduction of the research and be it writing down of a research, because research should be written in a manner that anyone who reads down the research paper or an article or a report is able to speculate in what way the research was done, how accurately the research was done, and the research paper is an actual reflection of the research done. It's not that we did a research and we wrote a one article that okay we did this, then we did that, and then we issued particular results. But the report should have authentic proofs that okay how that was done, when was it done, how was it done, what were the methods being followed, and how do we reach to a particular conclusion. So it is very regulated, and the regulators have very strict guidelines and strict norms, and they have set specific format for reporting of all these research articles and research papers, and specifically when it comes to writing up about the researches for submissions. So what is regulated and general medical research, I'll come to in my next slides. When we talk of regulated medical writing, we would focus on this because this is a very booming field right now. People are looking up to their careers into regulated medical writings. You need to have even companies hiring medical writers like anything, because now the rules for writing and reporting of the results, rules for reporting of the research have become very stringent, very strict by the regulatories. So regulatory medical writing includes all things which have to be in any phase of the research to be submitted to the regulatory for review, or can be reviewed and monitored by the regulatory if they feel. Maybe you have written something, they may not require it every time, but they can ask you to keep it and store it, and they can review it at the time when it is required. So what is actually regulatory medical writing? Regulatory medical writing consists of all the articles which are being written so as to conduct the research first, to conclude the research, and ensure the regulatory that the research was carried out in compliance with what all it is required by particular regulatory. Let's come to them one by one. Regulatory medical writing very much focuses on writing of study protocols. See, every study, every clinical research or every pharmaceutical research should be done in a specified manner. We cannot go here and there and do anything what we want. No, because it's something which is affecting humans, and specifically clinical research. When the research is being conducted on human volunteers, the regulators are very strict so that the safety and the well-being of the human volunteers is not at all hampered. So they always advise, rather I would say they have made it a very strict rule that before proceeding ahead with any kind of regulatory research, you need to make a protocol for a research. How would you do the protocol? How would you do the research? What actually the research is about? What would be the design of research? What would be the population which will be registered? And how would you reach to the conclusion? Everything. It should be 100% written down somewhere, and it should be approved by the regulatory. So suppose a pharma company is about to start a particular research, do a study on suppose 100 volunteers, some 100 subjects who are suffering from diabetes, and they want to do a research on a diabetic drug. So before starting that particular study, they need to make a protocol, pen down everything, what all is about the research, its design, its statistical parameters, what would be the design of the research, how the dose would be given, and every minute detail of the clinical study would be written down in the protocol. That protocol would be accepted by the person who is conducting the research, would be sent to the regulatory authority for approval. Like in India, if you want to conduct a clinical research, you need to make a protocol and send it to the regulatory, that is the DCGI, that is the Drug Control General of India. They review the protocol, each and every aspect of the protocol. They approve the protocol if they feel that it is worth approving, and they feel that the research could be carried out without any hampering. They may approve, they may even disapprove. So writing of a protocol is very important, and once a protocol is approved, then only you can, or any pharma company or any CRO can start their research. So all the pharma companies, all the clinical research organizations, all the contract research organizations do hire protocol writers for making a concrete integrated protocol in compliance with the regulatory guidelines. Even the regulators give a specific guideline for study protocol. How to write a study protocol, how to pen it down, what all sections should be there, what all should be covered, and everything should be in a neat and a formatted way and should be submitted to the regulatory for approval before starting the clinical research. Then one is study protocol. The next important thing which comes into being is clinical study report. Once the study is completed, each and every detail of the study has to be captured in a report submitted to the regulatory authority 100% for review. No study would be acceptable without a concrete clinical study report. So there are specific medical writers in each organization, in each pharma company, in each contract research organization, in each CRO to write down the report. And report should be accurate and a 100% reflection of what research has been done. Report should capture all the details of the research so that the regulatory, by reviewing the report, is able to speculate how the research was being done, what all are the happenings at the time of research. Protocol is just how the research will be done, but actually when we implement the protocols, we do face several deviations, we do face certain incidents which are not expected or which are expected but cannot be foreseen beforehand. So every minute detail of a research is being captured in the clinical study report. It is a very exhaustive report written down in a manner which is already defined by regulatories. Like ICH gives specific guidelines for writing a clinical study report. If you go through the E3 guidelines of the ICH, you will see a description of how to write a clinical study report, what all will be the sections in the clinical study report, and what all sections have to be there. And even they have specified a format upon how to write a report, what should be the fonts and everything. So I mean, they don't want any deviation from their format which has been specified. Okay, any deviations which are not going to affect the quality of the report are acceptable, but a strict guideline has been given by ICH to write a clinical study report. So all the companies, all the pharmaceutical companies, all the CROs hire medical writers to write clinical study report because it's very exhaustive. It captures each and every detail. Then another thing which is normally of much of important regulatory medical writing is writing of investigator brochures. I hope you must be familiar with the term investigator. If not, I'll just brief you in a line. Investigators are the doctors who are the single point of control for all clinical studies. They, under their supervision and under their guideline, the clinical studies are being carried out. So, before an investigator actually begins a clinical research, we need to have an idea about the drug. We need to have an idea about the research. What is the research all about? What all are the different aspects of a particular research? What all are the aspects of the drug he needs to know, preclinical screening, about different nature of the drug, different adverse events which are expected, which are not expected, what are the particular indications for this, for different indications for which the drug can be used, what indication it's being looked into, everything. Investigator should have a detailed idea of everything. So, investigator brochure is a thick book of detailed description, detailed information of everything the investigator should know before beginning a study. So, investigator brochures are being written by the medical writing teams at pharma companies before starting the research. Before starting the research, the investigator is given an investigator brochure. He is supposed to read it for every minute detail and know the research in and out before starting the research. Then there are patient safety narratives. There are certain sheets which are patient safety narratives which are given to the patients upon admission into the clinical study, telling them what all the research is about and narrating that what all safety measures you need to take what all safety aspects which can be hampered by this particular research, everything. They should have a full idea about what kind of research they are going to have, and can they what all safety precautions they need to take once they are into the research. So there are patient safety narratives also which are written, and even at times there are narratives which are written if some event happened, if some event occurred, and there is uh, a narration of that particular event has to be done. In that case, these narratives are written. Naseer, Monica and Tamanna, you have few questions. I just want to say that I'll be answering all your questions, but at the end of the session, please bear with, when you complete this particular session, then surely I'll be answering all your questions. Okay. Now another important aspect of medical writing is informed consent documentation. Informed consent forms are very important in the field of clinical research, because every enrollment into a clinical research should be informed. What do you mean by voluntarily and what do you mean by informed? Voluntarily means any patient or any volunteer or any subject who is enrolling himself or herself into the study should voluntarily participate. That is, it is his will or her will to participate into the clinical research, then only he should participate. And how to ensure that willingness, how to ensure that voluntariness would be with the help of informed consent forms. The informed consent forms are given to the patients, they are given to the subjects to read them thoroughly. They are thoroughly explained about the study, about the benefits we are going to get, about the research, about the drug which is being used, and each and every aspect which would be a concern to a particular patient. Insurance, how will their medical events be handled, what compensation will they be given, and each and every aspect is covered in the informed consent forms, and they are being written by the medical writers to ensure that each and every detail which would be of a concern to a volunteer is captured in the informed consent form. Then even they should be well informed. What consent means, voluntary consent, and informed means they should be well informed about each and every aspect of the research. So informed consent, making of informed consent forms is very important in the field of clinical research. I will talk about patient brochures. Like it's an investigator brochure. Similarly, we have patient brochures also. Like all the patients which are registering themselves into the study need to know about the study in and out. So they are giving the brochures in the language of their choice. Like if you are conducting clinical research in, suppose, Karnataka, and the person knows only Kannada, then this informed consent form, this patient brochure should be in Kannada. Need not all the medical writers need to know Kannada or need to know any regional language. For them, the pharma companies have translators. All these forms are usually written in English only and translated by a translating agency or translators, official translators, and can be used for the study purpose. Then there are some pharmacovigilance documents. Actually, pharmacovigilance comes into being once a drug is out into the market and people are reporting their adverse event time and again. So these pharmacovigilance documents actually need to capture the detail of the drugs, their inclusion into how they came into being, their adverse events which were expected, which were unexpected, and actual occurrence of the adverse event. There are several documents of pharmacovigilance, like they have aggregate reports, they have periodic safety update reports, they have DSQRs. Like when the drug comes into the market and it's a new drug, you have to submit a periodic safety update report of a drug to the regulatory every 6 months for the first 2 years. Then after the completion of the 2 years, every year a periodic safety update report has to be submitted to the regulatory agency. So these things come into the pharmacovigilance. What all adverse events were encountered, what all adverse events were registered, what all reactions were registered, through the PV team. They all need to be captured. Their signal identification is done, and everything is detailed on the pharmacovigilance documents once the drug comes out into the market. These are the pharmacovigilance documents like aggregate reports, periodic safety updates report. These all come into the PV documents. They have to be even submitted to the regulatory time and again as required by the regulatory, and even they have guidelines for submitting it. The frequency. Then another important thing of regulatory writing is standard operating procedures. Each company, each pharma company, each CRO, each organization need to have their standard operating procedures for operating their functions. Each function should be detailed specifically in separate SOPs in detail so as to ensure the quality of the work. Suppose I will say how to write a periodic safety update report or how to write a protocol. Each company will have a standard operating procedure of writing a protocol, of writing a report, of writing a patient brochure, of writing a report, aggregate report. So they will have a separate SOP for each and everything so as to ensure that all the points which are required to be followed in writing are adhered to while writing, are included in the reports, or even not just for writing, for each and every aspect, like how will you enroll the patient, how will you take informed consent from the patient, how will the site selection done, how will the investigator selection done. Everything is covered in for each and everything we have a separate SOP. So there are specific people who are engaged in SOP writing, and SOPs are written in a manner they are easily understandable. They capture each and every detail, can be followed, and are very effective, because SOPs are like a religion to any organization. Like we need to follow a religion, we need to follow our SOPs. Because SOP compliance, see, we may not follow a regulatory guideline because they are just guidelines. Though all our SOPs have their concept from the guidelines only, but if you make a SOP, you have to follow it 100% religiously without fail. And you can, during a regulatory inspection, if our auditor comes and points out, ki, oh, you are not doing this, you may say that our SOP doesn't have a clause to do this. We will definitely revise our SOP and will do it. Every inspector will accept your justification, will give you observation that, okay, please do it, please incorporate it in the SOP because it is a recent requirement, recent advance, and do it from all future studies. But if it's something is written in a SOP and you are not adhering to it in your organization, then it is a strong deviation, because you have set rules for yourself and that you are not adhering to those rules. So standard operating procedures are written very diligently, very effectively by people, medical writers in the organization, so that they can be easily understood by the people working out and can be followed. And even the people who are writing these SOPs should have a knowledge of medical writing, of guidelines also before writing. So these are the few important regulated medical writing aspects which are very important. Everybody, because we all are from different fields and there are no specific degrees related to medical writing. So there are certain institutes, there are certain colleges who are focusing into the courses of medical writing, on few certification courses of medical writing, so that you have a brief knowledge, brief exposure to the kind of things which are required for medical writing, especially regulatory medical writing. So if you are aiming to look about your career into medical writing, then you can go on for registration into few institutes. Even our institute provides one of such certifications and such courses which give you an overview of medical writing. You tend to know about different aspects of medical writing, specifically regulatory, because regulatories are very strict in certain rules. General medical writing is can be done with your knowledge, with your brains, but for regulatory you need to have a regulated aspect, knowledge of the regulatory guidelines, knowledge of the requirements which regulatory are looking up to. So if you are aiming for a career in medical writing, you can go on for such courses which may really help you to nurture your career into medical writing. This regulatory medical writing is a very booming field right now. Then, as I told you, scientific writing can be of two types. It was regulated. Regulated, I've already discussed with you. The second type is the general medical writing. The general medical writing normally is about writing of monographs. Like you must have read some monographs in the, even the pharmacopoeias have some monographs. Even the, there are certain monographs for the new drugs, writing of monographs, writing of training materials to the scientists, to the people who are not knowing about a particular research, writing of those training materials. Then even companies hire medical writers for writing prescribing information. Suppose a new drug comes into the market. The patient is not aware about how the drug has to be taken, what frequency, what is the drug about, because it's not a very well known drug. Doctor will write you in the prescription, take this 2 times a daily after meal and all that. Okay, that may give you a bit of information, but still taking a new drug always has a chance in your mind that okay, it may or may not, it may have some safety issues. So when a new drug comes into market for certain years, it is a guideline, it is requested by all the regulatories that all the pharma companies should give a patient information sheet into the drug. Like suppose there is a topical ointment. At times you have a prescribing information inside. It's a small leaflet which carries all information regarding the drug. So you have that prescribing information. So these prescribing informations are even written by medical writers into the pharma company. Then at times there are articles written for patient education. There are certain patients, they need to get educated regarding each and every aspect of the drug. So those patient education materials also has to be written. I cannot see the question. So this is general medical writing. Okay. So now I would, this was all about regulatory and general medical writing. Now when we go ahead in the medical writing thing, I would like to tell what are your primary employers. I mean, when you enter into the medical writing field, what all places you can look up to your jobs. I would say like 35% jobs are given by the pharmaceutical companies. Pharmaceutical companies do clinical research, very important aspect. And for each and every clinical research, they need to write a protocol, they need to write a report, they need to write an information brochure, they need to inform consent forms, and for everything they need medical writers. There can be certain agencies like who are catering to the needs of the people, like there are certain ethics committees, there are certain auditing agencies who may like to hire some medical writers for writing the reports and everything. Then even the universities at times when do some research, they need to publish their research. Their medical writers can look up to their jobs into such universities for writing purposes. Clinical research, as I told you, is a booming field, and there are a lot of people who enter into clinical research specifically for medical writing. Then publishing, healthcare like suppose any company which is coming up with something new, they need medical writers, but that is very limited. More of research work and the clinical research and the pharmaceutical research, the demand of medical writers is great. Then you have some professional societies in research organizations you can have. Then if you come, I mean, okay, there is a lot of aspects of medical writing. There are a lot of opportunities in medical writing in pharma sector, in clinical research sector. I do agree to that, but you need to actually know whether you have the skills to become a medical writer or not. Whether you can develop, or if you don't have, can you develop those skills? So there are few basic skills I would talk about which are required in a medical writer. They are, first I would say, attention to a detail, because when you are writing a research paper, or you are writing a clinical report, or you are writing a protocol, there are certain things which have to be captured 100%, which cannot be skipped even in case of ignorance. I mean, there is no chance of by mistake you left that particular detail, because if you left that particular detail, then it has to be captured sooner or later. And it would, maybe if you forget to capture a particular detail in a protocol, the regulatory agency may disapprove your protocol. You forgot to capture, okay, this may cause cancer, this drug may cause cancer, and a medical writer forgets to capture this in the protocol. Then, and if a drug has that particular adverse event, and the regulatory person, they are also all skilled people, they are also well educated people, and they know that this drug has an anti-cancer side effect. They may disapprove your protocol because they may feel that you are trying to hide the things, but actually it was a mistake of a medical writer. So you need to pay attention to each and every detail. You should have an understanding what is important, what all should be captured. Okay, even the companies go on for trainings, they impart you trainings extensively, but uh, but you need to have that kind of skills within yourself so as to ensure to become a good medical writer. Then you should have excellent writing skills. There are people at times who have very good knowledge of the things, who are very diligent in their working, but they cannot pen down their things properly. They cannot write down their things properly. I am sorry, then the medical writing is not there for you. But definitely you can develop these skills, because writing skills is, because when it comes to medical writing, it's not you should have a very nice vocabulary, you should have a very nice comprehension or very nice grammar. No, you need to have an understanding of the technical terms. You need to have the understanding of the guidelines. You need to have the understanding of the work which is being done, which is more important. So if you can write those scientific things nicely, then the medical writing is for you. You can opt for medical writing as your career ahead. Then you should have interpersonal skills, because see, when you are writing a medical any article or writing a report or a protocol, you are actually not doing that. It is being done by somebody else, and it has been done by somebody else. You need to write it down. So then at that time you should have a very good interpersonal skills so as to capture the information from all the persons who have conducted or who may be conducting that research in future. So you need to establish the link with the actual operational team. You need to have a good relationship with the operational team before writing an article. So you need to have very good interpersonal thing, because you need to interact for each and every details with the actual operational team. So interpersonal skills are very important. Then organizational skills, because see, when you write an article, when you write a protocol or a report or an investigator, there are a lot of details which have to be captured. Extensive protocols are written, extensive reports are written, and we cannot afford to even miss out a single detail. So you need to be very organized. How and when, from where will you capture the details? How will you capture the details? What you will keep things in backup? Everything. So you need to be very organized when writing a particular report or a protocol. Then you should have, obviously, last but not the least, you should have scientific skills. I mean, and no lay person can enter and become a medical writer. He knows English and he will become a medical writer. No. You should have understanding of scientific terms. You should have understanding of scientific rules. Should have a knowledge about scientific terminologies which are being prevalent in the current industry. But I am very sure, see, that nobody comes with everything in his head before entering into the career. You can enhance yourself by different courses, by different certifications, and can develop those skills to make yourself apt for this particular career. This is about the skills. Then I would, my next slide would tell you, I mean, what was the level of education which is required to become a medical writer. Normally nowadays, I would say, obviously advanced knowledge is preferred everywhere, but it's not just having great number of degrees. I mean, you can see the pie chart, and it clearly says that about 30% people are the medical writers who have advanced knowledge, like who are PhDs and postdocs. Then there are 35% who are masters, 33% who are bachelors, but very few are who have a degree of associate degree or below. As I already told you, you need to have understanding of scientific terms. You need to have the understanding of science. You need to have understanding of scientific outcomes. You need to have the understanding of all the laws which are governing the research. But you can you can enter this field into various level of educations. Like if you are bachelor's, even then you can enter into this field, because by graduation you have you have a knowledge of science, you have an understanding towards science, and additionally if you get fetch some certification or fetch some small diploma course about medical writing, you can easily enter into this field. Then if you are masters, very good. I mean, it's the field for you. I mean, you can see the greatest number of the people are the people who are masters. Advanced, obviously, more knowledge, more scope. So, but any person can aim to enter into this particular field by fetching certain trainings. And training, I just don't mean okay, it's very important to get certificate trainings, you need to get certificate diplomas, it's very good, but some things we can change in ourselves by daily practicing, what we call as informal medical writing training. If you aim to become a medical writer, or you want to enter into the or you're looking up to excel into this particular field, you should read a lot. Read all medical pharmaceutical journals, read all research papers, as many as you can, from net, from any source which is available to you. Subscribe online newsletters. There are many sites which give you online letters to regarding the recent advances, recent changes in the field you are looking up to. Then develop a basic understanding of statistics, basic understanding of different scientific backgrounds. Then you can obtain and be familiar with style guides and medical dictionaries. See, as I told you, when you enter into medical field, you should have an understanding of scientific terms, medical terminologies which are being prevalent in the industry and how they are written down. So you can get yourself on the net, you can ally yourself to number of associations as AMA. This is American Medical Writing Association. You can get associated yourself with such organization, get their recent updates, regular updates, and get yourself updated. Then you should have a very good knowledge of guidelines. And last but not least, because nowadays everything now is being done on software, you should have a good hands-on knowledge on Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Acrobat, because all the reports and the protocols which are being accepted are accepted in the PDF format by the regulatories. So this is kind of informal training which you can do at your own place. But obviously this may not allow you to excel in the field. Okay, it may allow you to develop the skills for medical writing, but if you want to excel in the field, I would definitely say that you can enroll yourself into some medical writing program by some institutes, colleges or universities. Get some diploma course who can give you a brief overview of medical writing, who can give you a brief understanding of medical writing, the scope and even the basic aspects of regulated medical writing. Because see, as I told you already, discussed in detail about regulated medical writing, regulatory has set guidelines for each and every aspect. So if you go through some small program or a small certification course or a diploma course, then you need to know about the gist of those guidelines, about the requirements of the regulatories, and how can you, from where to access those regulatory information and how to imbibe them into your knowledge. So if you go through a small medical writing program, they can always help you to brush up your knowledge towards regulatory requirements. They can give a fine edge over other medical writers. Then obviously, but even if you are doing that course, you need to have some degree course in life sciences or statistics, maybe a graduate in any life sciences, maybe in pharmacology, statistics or any field, but a small medical writing program will always help you out. Then looking upon the aspect of medical writing, one more aspect which comes to being is freelancing. Many medical writers are freelancers, because see, medical writing is something which you can do with your laptop sitting at your home. So many people don't work for organizations, they do their own freelancing. That is giving your writing on a paid basis to the people who require the matter to be written by them. Now, if you want to become a freelancer, the decision is up to you. But there are many factors that affect freelancing, right? Your number of years of experience. I won't suggest any fresher to start freelancing at the beginning stage in the career, because it may not help you out. You are not actually well subjected and well versed to the regulatory requirements. You are not well versed with what actually is demanded out of medical writers. So I would suggest everyone who is looking up to freelancing in their later stages of career initially do get experience by working in good companies or good CROs and have a good experience of medical writing. Then obviously your financial and lifestyle needs. Some people don't need to work under somebody. They may look up to freelancing. And the best part is medical writing offers great opportunities in freelancing. I would say, I would come to the next slide. There are about 1/3 of the medical writers of the whole world are freelancers. And if you log on into Google, you will see number of sites who will give you opportunities in freelancing. But obviously, when you come to freelancing, there's always a risk involved because you cannot without contacts and without your establishment in the industry, there's always a chance of a risk. Then you need to know people, need to be with other people. You need to know certain people who are from the field who will fetch you some work. Then or you have to, or you should have an extreme ability to market yourself, because it may so happen that you have very good writing skills, but you are not able to market yourself, so you are not able to fetch good work. So it may affect your career. Then how personally motivated you are, how disciplined, because sitting at home and doing your laptop or work on the laptop even needs great amount of discipline. I think even more than a job, because then it's your self motivation which motivates you to do work. Then even the industry trends and the market do affect freelancing. You can choose any, be a freelance medical writer or employee. But for initial phases, I do suggest everybody at least give 2 to 3 years or 4 years of experience under some employee so as to be a very good freelancer. I would say freelancers, like I told you, they work at home. 1/3 are medical writers. 1/3 of the total medical writers are freelancers. Then, but you need to have an experience. You need to be disciplined. You should have an ability to market yourself. Then, main points of medical writing I already discussed, which are very booming right now, like regulated medical writing and general medical writing. There are other miscellaneous kind of medical writing services also, which are available. Like you can prepare slide presentations, roundtable conference presentations. Then, or you can pen down any original research done by a particular person. Then you can write down any journal articles which may be original research. Even the review articles can be written. Some editorials can be written, or they can be some case reports. These are the services which are available in the field of medical research, in the field of medical writing, but they are not that extensive. I mean to say the bulk of the job goes to the regulated medical writers. Even okay, you can go if you want, and you are looking up to medical writing and you find yourself much more closer to these things, you can go on with that. But regulated medical writing is the bulk of the medical writing. Then publication in journals, for medical meetings. Then for certain advertisements, you need to have write some medical advertisement in a form that it is understandable to everybody, and it even has the medical information. You can write some internet document for patient educations. Yeah, these are the miscellaneous medical writing things which you can do, be it a freelancer or an employee. Then, just for your knowledge, even our institute, that is IGMPI, offers the Faculty of Clinical Research offers various diploma courses, programs related to clinical research, pharmacovigilance, drug discovery and development, and last but not least, which we were talking about, is medical writing. We have all regular part-time and distance learning programs associated with us. You can enroll into any one of them. And if you're looking into medical writers, you can enroll yourself into the medical writing programs and the diploma courses, and can look medical writing as your career. Then if you want to enroll yourself, then this is the name of the program coordinator, who is Nisha, and these are the telephone numbers and the address which are displayed in the slides. You can talk to any one of them and get yourself registered. I will go to the question section. Right now, I think I don't have received any questions. If any one of you has some questions, please post your questions, and I will definitely answer your questions as and when I get the questions. Nasir, Monica, Tamanna, any one of you have questions, please Raise your questions. I'll answer to all the questions you have. I'm over with my presentation. Do you have any questions? Yes, Shushan. Sushant, you can even speak out. I can hear you. Sushant. Okay, I think you have self-muted yourself. You can unmute yours. Okay, I can see your question, Sushant. Just hold on for a minute. Government Institute. Okay. Tamanna Bharti has asked, is there any government institute offering courses for medical writing? Not specifically medical writing. I won't say for specifically. And what do you mean by government institute? I mean, there are several universities who have their curriculums for clinical research in which the subpart is medical writing. Not specifically for medical writing because medical writing is a subpart of clinical research. So not exactly for medical writing, but yes, there are there are courses which have medical writing as a part of their curriculum of clinical research. So you can enroll into them, or there are a number of institutes who, you don't want to enter into a degree course, you don't want to pay that much, you can enter into a small diploma course and get yourself well versed with the medical writing terms and the medical writing term guidelines, and can work and fetch as a work as a medical writer if you aim to do that. Now, Nasir has a question that I have an experience of 4 years as clinical research coordinator. May I become a freelance? Nasir, I can just advise you. It's your entirely your decision. I don't know about your qualities of medical writing, whether you have those skills or not. But yes, I do understand that since you are working as a clinical research coordinator since 4 years, you must have developed a good knowledge of clinical research and must have developed a great idea. But see, Nasir, I would say when you talk about regulated medical writing, we have less opportunities in freelancing because companies are very conservative towards sharing their knowledge, sharing their data with a freelance medical writer. So, if you want to enter into medical writing, you are already that much experienced as a CRC, you can shift yourself to medical writing and later on go to the freelancing, because suddenly if you go to freelancing, I don't think the companies very easily share their data, because it's a very confidential data about the research. If you go on for that medical writing, like you want to write journals, you want to write articles, you want to write some consumer health articles, things like that, you will get in freelancing. But if you want to write regarding regulated, there are very few companies, at least I would say at least big companies don't like to share their things with the freelancers. There are small companies who cannot go on for 100% who cannot hire a person on their payroll. They may give, but less of opportunity. So what I would say, if you're interested in medical writing, do a small, get a few experience in medical writing and shift yourself to the medical writing department gradually. And you can do that because you have an experience of 4 years in as a CRC. Then Tamanna, I have 6 years admission experience in vaccine industry. Yeah, so do you want to become a medical writer? Okay. Would you please suggest me which clinical subpart is good for me? Since you have experience in vaccine industry, Tamanna, I would even like to know, what part of medical industry, into the research of medical vaccine industry, what is, your basic profile of vaccine? Till that time, I'll answer Nasir. He is saying that I am a M.Pharm in pharmacology and MSc in clinical research. Then what do you need to ask? Okay, you're just telling your qualification. Now, it's good. you can always go to medical writing Nasi, but as I told you, regulated medical writing, not many offers are there for freelancers. I would try. There are a lot of companies who have opportunities in medical writing. You can look into, I mean, I don't know which place do you stay into, in your local, I mean, you there in NCR also. If you are living in NCR, there are a lot of companies who have their openings for medical writers. You can try them, and you can, I think, yeah, you will be able to get your existed into some of the company. For this, go through the guidelines of a particular regulatory, or if you want, you can register to a particular course and get that knowledge also. Okay. Any more questions? Tamanna, I asked you that in vaccine industry, what is actually vaccine? Okay. So Tamanna, you want to know whether yes, see Tamanna, you have any person who has experience in life sciences can enter into medical writing. Not medical. I won't say medical coding, because coding they normally prefer physicians, but writing, yes, you can, for clinical research also. CRA, you want to become a CRA, you can, because you have an approximate, you have an adequate experience, you may have an adequate degree also, but I mean, normally CRAs tend to roam about a lot, because sites are at many places. They need to visit the sites, all the sites once and again. So if you are open to traveling, then yes, you can become a CRA. But medical writing, if you want to enter into medical writing, yes, you can, but you need to get yourself well versed with the regulatory guidelines which are required for medical writing. You already have an experience of research, you already have experience of operations, you can enter into, look on for good opportunities, you can easily go there. Any other questions? Yes, anyone has, and Monica, Nasi, Tamanna, I can see all of you. Anybody has some questions, you can ask. I'm still there. And in case no questions, then we'll wind up in another 2-3 minutes. I guess none of you has questions. So thanks a lot for attending this presentation, this webinar, and you can always get back to us in case you have some requirements for any programs you want to enroll yourself, and there are the phone numbers displayed on your screens. You can get back to these people. They'll help you out to move ahead. Okay, thank you guys.